Welcome to Dark Corner's Horror Smackdown Round 2. In this round, we're taking a closer look at the bad guys, but we still want you voting for the best or your favourite film overall. Match 38, The Wicker Man versus An American Werewolf in London. An American Werewolf in London is a movie that lives in its own shadow. So famous has one particular scene become, Jesus Christ! That we sometimes forget that that scene is just part of a larger film. And yet, however impressive that scene was and is, it is at its best when regarded in the context of the whole film. The best werewolf movies are tragedies.
Well, I think that a werewolf can only be killed by someone who loves him.
While vampires get to be killers 24/7, werewolves are doomed to be human again in the morning, with the knowledge and guilt of their actions. Lycanthropy in American Werewolf is treated as a condition, something David cannot help, and something unavoidably terminal. While the tight-lipped yokels,
I heard nothing,
and people who refuse to believe David's story,
Officer, I killed those people last night. You did you?
play their part in the events that follow, the only real bad guy is the curse of the wolf lurking within David. Unlike virtually every other werewolf film, An American Werewolf in London sees this as more than a physical condition. David's psychology is thrown into disarray, disturbing dreams, a post-change euphoria,
I feel so good. I haven't felt this good in a long time. You know, my body feels great. I feel like an athlete.
and of course, sightings of his dead friend whom only he can see.
Can I have a piece of toast?
And here is where the movie again flips our perspective. Although it's not his fault, David is the killer, and he knows how to stop it.
Kill yourself before you kill others.
But he cannot go through with it.
You must take your own life.
That's easy for you to say. You're already dead.
And yet our sympathies remain with David. He is both killer and victim. More interesting still, when the undead manifestations of those he has killed show up, they seem unsympathetic as they urge David to kill himself.
Yes, you just put the gun to your forehead and pull the trigger.
But if you put it in your mouth, you'd be sure not to miss.
Thank you. You're all so thoughtful.
The innocent victims unexpectedly become the bad guys, even as they try to prevent the massacre on which the film ends. Which is why the transformation scene is so vital. Firstly, because it shows that David is a helpless victim as well, but also because it makes him suffer. David does his penance for the lives he will take before he has even taken them.
Please, go away. No.
We can only feel sorry for him, while the real bad guy, the werewolf, remains something intangible that ruins the lives of everyone involved, then hides within its victim. Making a second appearance as a bad guy is Christopher Lee as the high-handed Lord Summerisle.
And now, for our more dreadful sacrifice.
For most of the horror films in our Smackdown, the threat has to come in to upturn the status quo. But the Wickerman is different. Christian Police Sergeant Howie enters into the danger, and the horror is focused on the downfall of this one man.
You came here to find Rowan Morrison, but it is we who have found you and brought you here, and controlled your every thought and action since you arrived.
Much like Lee's Count Dracula, Lord Summerisle is first introduced, taking our hero by surprise.
Good afternoon, Sergeant Howie.
He is welcoming and charming, and yet his confidence is commanding. He is not threatened by accusations and never raises his voice in anger.
You suspect foul play?
I suspect murder and conspiracy to murder.
In that case, you must go ahead.
The islanders all follow his lead, deferring their will to his command.
I'm afraid you have to get permission from Lord Summerisle.
For decades, his family's commitment to pagan rituals have brought prosperity to Summerisle, and as a result, the Christian religion has been eroded away.
And what of the true God, to whose glory churches and monasteries have been built on these islands for generations past? Now, sir, what of him?
He's dead. He can't complain. He had his chance, and in modern parlance, blew it.
However, faced with a failing harvest, Lord Summerisle's position on the island is threatened for the first time, and he conspires to hold a human sacrifice to honour the gods.
Animals are fine, but their acceptability is limited. A little child is even better, but not nearly as effective as the right kind of adult.
It is now that he becomes a dangerous man. He sets things in motion to trap the determined officer. Choices he made in search of a missing girl now combine with choices made before he ever set foot on the island to make him the perfect sacrifice.
A man who would come here of his own free will.
A man who has come here with the power of a king by representing the law.
A man who would come here as a virgin.
A man who has come here as a fool.
While it may appear that evil prospers in the Wicker Man, there is far more at play. Although terrible things are said about Christianity, Sergeant Howie's devotion to God, even in the face of death, is his saving grace, accepting his fate as a martyr in the face of those doing him wrong.
I believe in the life eternal, as promised to us by our Lord Jesus Christ.
The only time we see Lord Summerisle lose his temper is when Sergeant Howie condemns him.
Next year you're going to have another blood sacrifice. And next year no one less than the King of Summerisle himself will do.
Lord Summerisle's fragility is laid bare as he barks back.
They will not fail.
While the town celebrates in the glow of the burning Wicker Man that evening, the fate of the island is unclear, and shows that a villain who thinks he can change the world is just as dangerous as one who actually can. Let us know your thoughts on these bad guys, and don't forget to vote on the horror film you want to see move into the next round.